India would be hosting the G20 summit in the year 2022. The year will also be the 75th year of India's independence. It will be the first time the G20 summit will be held in India. The announcement was made by the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the closing ceremony of the two-day-long summit.
भारत की आजादी के 75 साल है और इसलिए हमने इटली से रिक्वेस्ट की थी कि अगर 21 के बजाय 22 अगर भारत को मिलता है, और मैं इटली का बहुत आभारी हूं कि उन्होंने हमारी रिक्वेस्ट को स्वीकार किया और इस प्रस्ताव को जब आपने सबके सामने रखा तो सबने भी इसको स्वीकार किया, इसलिए मैं बहुत आभारी हूं.
The G20 summit brings together leaders from 19 of the world's most industrialized nations and the European Union. The G20, or Group of 20, started out in the year 1999 as a meeting of finance ministers and central bank governors of the world's major economies, whose leaders first met in 2008 to help rescue the global economy from the worst financial crisis in 7 decades. At the two-day-long summit in Argentina, India released a 9-point agenda that included cooperation between countries to catch fugitive economic offenders. Let's go straight across now to our principal diplomatic correspondent, Siddhant Sibal, who's been tracking the very latest, joining us now from Buenos Aires. Siddhant, take us through the key takeaways, first of all, from that crucial G20 summit, a host of issues that have been discussed, and of course, the crucial announcement also coming in of India, all set to host a summit in the year 2022.
Well, the big story for India is that India will be hosting the G20 in the year 2022, and this is the year coinciding with India's 75th independence year anniversary. But India will also be the 4th Asian country to host the G20 after South Korea, China and Turkey, and clearly focus will be on how to showcase India at the world stage in its 75th year of independence. But the key outcomes were also trilaterals, and of course what the Indian Prime Minister said, the two trilaterals were Japan, America and India, and Russia, India, China, both diverse groupings, but showcases how New Delhi is being engaged by whether it's Moscow, Beijing, Tokyo or Washington, and coming in the back of the new concept of Indo-Pacific, which is gaining currency. But what the Indian Prime Minister said also mattered. He of course gave 9-point agenda on fugitive economic offenders, which involved FATF should come out with a common definition of fugitive economic offenders. The Indian Prime Minister also focused on the trade wars. He said that the trade wars between countries, no point mentioning those countries, but these countries are China and United States, impacts the entire world and has a collateral damage on emerging economies. He also raised the issue of oil prices. He called for a stabilization of the oil prices at the G20 forum, and also during his bilateral, the very first bilateral with the Saudi Arabian Crown Prince.
All right, we're going to leave it there for the moment, though. Siddhant Sibal, thanks very much for those quick updates. As Siddhant is pointing out, that's the crucial takeaway, among others, that's coming in from the summit. And the leaders at the G20 also agreed to reform the global body that regulates international trade disputes, the World Trade Organization, but failed to reach an agreement on the Paris Climate Change Accord. However, it needs mentioning that all member nations, barring United States, reiterated their commitment to the Paris Accord, with the European Union officials saying that United States was the main holdout on nearly every issue. The official statement also took into consideration the discrepancies in the global commerce and also called for an overhaul of the World Trade Organization. There was a thundering applause as the leaders signed the final statement. The agreement, non-binding in nature, was arrived at after late-night talks amid divisions among the member nations. European nations tried playing the mediator, with the summit being dominated by the trade war tensions between the United States and China. Trade was recognized as the engine of global growth in the final statement, but only passing references were made to the current trade issues. On the issue of climate change, there was no consensus. The final statement, however, took into cognizance the recent United Nations report that set alarm bells ringing across the world when it warned that global warming will have far more serious consequences than previously feared. The G20 summit strongly denounced terrorism, condemning terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. In that statement, the member states also vowed to step up efforts to fight terrorism and check terror financing. The statement also shows a commitment to a rules-based international order, and while a statement is not legally enforceable, the European nations see it as proof to assess the G20's relevance and if multilateralism still works.